December 31st, 1944. Over the frozen skies of Europe, a B-17 bomber named the Little Skipper cuts through the clouds like a silver spear. Inside the cockpit, Second Lieutenant Glenn Rojan grips the yoke tightly, sweat rolling down his temple despite the sub-zero cold. Beside him, his co-pilot William Leap scans the controls in silence, both men bracing for what's to come. Their mission: destroy the oil refineries of Hamburg, the beating heart of the Nazi war machine. But before they can reach the target, the world below explodes. Anti-aircraft fire fills the sky like a storm of fire and steel. Every shell bursts beneath their wings, shaking the fortress to its core. Through the chaos, Rojan watches in horror as one flying fortress after another is torn apart, bright stars falling from the heavens into the flames below. Smoke swirls around them. In the midst of it all, Rojan spots a white puff rising from the docks, the signal to release. "Open bomb bay doors," he shouts. The belly of the Little Skipper yawns open, and a stream of 500-pound bombs tumble downward, slicing through the wind like lightning bolts crashing toward the earth. Up ahead, Fool's Rush Inn takes a direct hit. A flak shell rips through its center, and the aircraft disintegrates in a flash. Its burning wreck collides with Cramp's tramps beside it. Two steel giants twist and tear into each other, exploding into twin suns before spiraling to the ground in a storm of smoke and debris. Rojan freezes speechless, certain no one could survive that inferno. Then, out of the chaos, 6 tiny white blossoms bloom across the sky. 3, 4, 6 shoots, 6 shoots, he shouts. Even in hell, life still fights to exist.
6
Surely,
shoots!
confirm bomb
6
drop.
shoots!
Bombs away, comes the reply through the headset. From the ball turret, Gunner Joe Russo cheers. Right on target, sir. Rojan steadies the controls. Formation, turn for the sea now. But before they can regroup, a voice crackles through the radio, sharp and panicked. Bandits 11 o'clock high. Within seconds, 50 German fighters roar out of the clouds, guns blazing, fire trails cutting across the cold winter sky. And in that instant, the Little Skipper's crew realizes the real battle has just begun. Out of the clouds they come jet-propelled monsters, faster than anything the Americans have ever seen. The first Me-262 slices through the formation like a thunderbolt, cannons blazing. A line of orange fire tears through the air, ripping past the Little Skipper. Before anyone can even aim, the jet is gone. Nothing left but 2 silver contrails shimmering in the winter Sunday. Jesus Christ, what was that? Someone mutters over the intercom. But there's no time to breathe. A swarm of Bf-109 seconds dive head-on into the formation, followed by F-1, 190 seconds, darting around them like hornets around a flame. Tracer rounds streak across the sky, red, green, white chaos everywhere. Off Rojan's right wing, the faithful Forever is limping behind, her fuselage already shredded by flak. A new burst of fire catches her square in the side. Over the radio, a broken voice crackles through. Faithful Forever going down. Tell my crew to jump. Even crippled, pilot Leo Ross holds the fortress steady long enough to let every man bail out.
Jesus
5
Christ,
parachutes
what was that?
bloom behind her as the aircraft falls away, a fiery cross sinking toward the clouds below. Bandits! 6 o'clock! Someone yells. Rojan yanks the yoke, fighting to hold formation, but the sky is falling apart. Planes are burning, spiraling, breaking formation, a storm of steel and smoke. Then suddenly, big group, 8 o'clock high. Out of the sun, the unmistakable glint of silver wings, P-51 Mustangs roaring in from the west. Fighter cover, thank God. The German fighters scatter instantly, breaking off their attack. For a brief moment, the sky clears, the madness stops. The Mustangs, satisfied the threat has passed, roll their wings and climb away toward the front lines to protect the next wave of bombers. T-51 seconds heading forward, Rojan radios. Stay sharp, boys, we're on our own again. The remaining B-17 seconds limp toward the coast, engines coughing, wings scarred with holes. Ahead, the gray shimmer of the North Sea glows beneath them. Safety, just a few miles more. Almost over water, Rojan says, his voice calm but tight. Hold on, everyone. We're going home. But as the German coastline slips below them, black puffs of flak bloom again on the horizon, the sky's cruel reminder that this war isn't done with them yet. The North Sea wind turns savage, slamming the B-17 seconds around like toys in a storm. Their formation is breaking apart, each fortress tossed by invisible hands. Over the intercom, the call no one wants to hear cuts through the static. Bandits 11 o'clock, then another. Bandits on a o'clock high. A fresh wave of German fighters, launched from Bremen and Oldenburg, screams in from the clouds. The Americans are still struggling with the turbulence when the first bursts of cannon fire rip through the air. The sky becomes a death trap. One fortress after another takes hits, trailing black smoke and oil. The formation is bleeding apart, every gap a doorway for the enemy. 9 o'clock. There's too many of them. A Bf-109 dives from the front, its tracers slashing across the lead bomber 9 lives. Bullets shatter the cockpit glass. Both pilots, McNabb and Vaughn, are killed instantly, slumping forward in their seats. But the 4 engines keep roaring, the bomber flying on like a ghost ship. Inside, the crew keeps firing, unaware their pilots are already dead. From the little skipper, Rojan sees the chaos unfolding. He pulls his bomber forward, trying to close the gap in the line. "Keep tight, boys, keep tight." One hand grips the control column, the other hovers over the throttles. He scans the horizon. Where's 9 lives? Anyone have eyes on McNabb? No answer. Ahead of him, 9 lives continues its lonely flight straight, but climbing. The dead men at the controls still hold the yoke pulled back, sending their plane slowly upward, oblivious to everything around them. In a nearby B-17, Captain Ethan Porter spots what's about to happen. Through his canopy, he watches in horror as 9 lives drifts higher right into the path of the little skipper. He grabs his mic, shouting into the radio, "McNabb, for God's sake, pull up. You're going to collide." No response. A heartbeat later, the sky erupts. At 12:44, Rojan and Leek are hurled upward in a bone-shaking impact that tears every bolt and rivet loose. The yoke jolts from Rojan's hands. Leek's knees slam into the column. What in God's name was that? Top turret, waste report. Silence. Then static. They check the systems, hydraulics, electrics, everything still alive. But the fortress isn't responding. Leek looks to Rojan, eyes wide. "We're losing control." Rojan glances out the left window and freezes. Beneath them, the impossible has happened. Another bomber is fused to their belly, wings locked together, like 2 dying birds trapped mid-fall. "Holy Mother of God," Rojan whispers. "We're riding another fort." The 9 lives has rammed straight into the little skipper mid-air, its nose buried deep into the aluminum belly of Rojan's plane. 2 B-17 seconds, 8 engines now, 1 doomed machine, falling together through the cold German sky. The cockpit rattles, every bolt screaming under the strain. Leek stares at the instrument panel and mutters, half in disbelief, half in dark humor, "Geez, Glenn, we're stuck together like mating dragonflies." 2 flying fortresses, the little skipper, and 9 lives, welded in mid-air, spinning slowly in a deadly waltz above the North Sea. Inside the 9 lives, Staff Sergeant Edward Woodall Jr. hangs upside down in his shattered ball turret, drenched in shards of glass and aluminum. The impact has killed the power. No hydraulics, no electrics, nothing. Only the manual crank remains. He grips it with trembling hands. One turn, then another. Each click of the crank sounds like the ticking of a clock counting down his last seconds. "Please, don't break on me," he whispers. Agonizingly, the twin, 50 caliber guns lower to a straight down position. With every ounce of strength, Woodall hauls himself backward through the cramped hatch, crawling into the fuselage. The sight that greets him freezes his blood, a twisted labyrinth of torn metal, oil, and smoke. The floor of his plane has caved in, the roof of another jutting through it like a spear. He looks down through the mangled wreckage and sees the other man, Corporal Joe Russo, the ball turret gunner from the little skipper, trapped in his own glass sphere. His turret has been crushed down into the belly of 9 lives, locked tight by steel twisted from both aircraft. There's no way out. Through the cracked plexiglass, Woodall sees Russo's lips moving. "Hail Mary, full of grace." The words reach the intercom, a whisper, a prayer, a farewell. "The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women." The crew of the little skipper listen in silence, unable to help, forced to hear the calm voice of a man waiting for death. In the cockpit, Bill Leek closes his eyes. The sound of Russo's prayer echoes through his headset. Later, he would confess, "I couldn't help him, and I felt as if I were intruding on his right to be alone with God." The engines groan, the airframe trembles, and beneath them, Joe Russo's voice fades, a quiet hymn rising into the roar of the wind. The intercom crackles with silence. Russo's final prayer fades into the storm outside. Leek sighed motionless, eyes distant, lips trembling. "Bill, Bill, snap out of it. Rojan's voice cuts through the haze. Leek blinks, then slowly removes his helmet, pulling the intercom plug from its socket. He can't bear to hear Russo's last words anymore. It's the most painful act of mercy he'll ever commit. A sudden jolt shakes the cockpit. Engine 1 on 9 lives bursts into flame, the fire licking toward the little skipper's wing. Both bombers fused together begin to drop. The altimeter spins down, 16,000, 15,000 feet. Rojan and Leek dig their boots into the instrument panel, straining against the control columns. "Come on, level out," Rojan growls through clenched teeth. He pushes the throttles forward, forcing the little skipper's engines to roar in protest. The two massive bombers shudder, but they won't separate. "Bill, pull harder!" The frames groan under the stress, metal bending, wings trembling. Still, the two planes remain locked, a single wounded beast falling toward the earth. Smoke floods the cockpit. Flames creep closer along the left wing. Rojan glances at Leek, eyes fierce but calm. "Damn it, the fire's spreading. Shut the engines, we're gonna try to turn this thing." The decision is insane, but it's the only chance. Crashing into the North Sea would mean instant death, no rescue, no survival. Their only hope, somehow steer this mangled machine back over land so the crew can bail out. "We have to get over land, Bill. It's the only way anyone makes it." Rojan eases the throttles back. The roaring engines fade to a low growl. "Easy now, slowly." The two pilots pull in perfect unison, their movements synchronized like one heartbeat. Astonishingly, the twin bombers respond groaning, trembling but turning. Inch by inch, they begin to bank toward the German coast.
"Please,
"It's working,"
don't break on me."
Leek gasps. The horizon shifts. Below them, the dark expanse of sea gives way to the pale outline of land. They've done the impossible turn two dying planes into one controllable glide, but victory is short-lived. Through the smoke, Rojan sees the left wing now engulfed in fire, the heat radiating so fiercely he can feel it burning his face through the aluminum skin. He clenches the yoke tighter as black clouds rise ahead, and then the sky lights up again. Flak bursts bloom all around them, black and orange blossoms exploding against the dying daylight. The Germans have seen them coming, and they're not done yet. The fire spreads like a living thing crawling along the wings, devouring aluminum. Inside the cockpit, Rojan and Leek can hear the crack, crack, crack of 50 caliber rounds cooking off in the flames. Each explosion sends stray bullets tearing wildly through the air, slicing past the fuselage like angry wasps. For a moment, the two men just stare at each other. No words, only the silent understanding that this might be the end. Outside the window, the horizon rushes closer. Rojan grabs the intercom, his voice steady despite the chaos. "We're almost over land. Get ready to bail out. Everyone out through the tail door, it's your only shot." The order hits like a knife. The tail door lies right in the path of the fire, spewing from the wreck of 9 lives above them, but there's no other way out. In the waist section, 3 crewmen Elkin, Newhouse, and Little struggle to free Joe Russo from the ball turret. The heat is unbearable. The metal around them glows red. Inside his shattered dome, Russo is still alive, still whispering, "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee." They pull, they pound, they shout his name, but the turret won't budge. It's fused in place, crushed by tons of twisted metal. Elkin's voice breaks as he recalls later, it wouldn't move. There was no way out for that brave man. Through the intercom, the last of Russo's prayer echoes, "Pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen." There's nothing left to do. The 3 men exchange a final glance, the kind soldiers give when words fail. Then they jump straight through the smoke, through the flames, into the open sky. Far below, on the island of Wangerooge, German anti-aircraft gunners look up in disbelief. An impossible sight. 2 B-17 seconds fused together. 8 roaring engines, 1 burning mass plunging toward land. A Wehrmacht captain lowers his binoculars, shaking his head. "Cease fire, don't shoot. Those poor souls are already finished." Back in the cockpit, the altimeter spins down 3,000 feet. Rojan's knuckles whiten on the yoke. He knows it's now or never. "Bill, you gotta jump. Go, now." But Leek doesn't move. He looks at Rojan, eyes calm, resolve unbroken. He's not leaving. Rojan can feel the controls fighting against him, the weight of 2 bombers dragging them down like an anchor to hell. He looks to Leek. "Bill, jump, that's an order." But Leek shakes his head. "I can't, Glenn. You won't hold her alone." He's right. If Leek leaves, Rojan won't have the strength to keep the 2 planes level. The instant he moves, the fortress will spiral, and neither man will make it out. "I'm staying," Leak says quietly. Down below, Joe Russo remains locked in his shattered turret, sealed inside the wreckage. Perhaps mercifully, he never sees the ground racing up to meet him. The horizon tilts, and the earth rises fast.
There's a chance we can make it if
grips
we
the
can just
yoke
hold
with
on a little
everything he
longer.
has. His voice trembles as he shouts over the roar. "Hold her straight, sweet Jesus." "Hold her." Leak joins him, both men shouting prayers that mix with the engine's dying scream. "Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil." And then impact. 9 lives hits first, erupting into a blinding fireball that tears itself apart, the explosion throwing the little skipper upward like a springboard. For one impossible heartbeat, the mangled bomber is airborne again, a phoenix leaping from its own ashes before slamming back to earth in a violent belly flop. The left wing shears through a wooden building, splitting the fuselage clean in two. Then silence, dust, smoke, and disbelief. Rojan blinks, dazed. His ears ring. He turns his head. Leak is still there, still breathing, alive. They stare at each other, unable to speak, two men who just cheated death. Leak is the first to move. He crawls out through a jagged hole behind the cockpit, stumbling into the daylight. His hands shake as he pats his chest, searching for a cigarette. He finds one, lights it, then freezes. A cold steel barrel presses against his forehead. A German soldier stands before him, eyes wide, yelling in panic. "Stop, don't move. You'll set us all on fire." Leak glances past him. Gasoline gushes down the wing, pooling beneath the wreckage. One spark, and they're all done. Slowly, he lowers the lighter. Later, survivors will count the miracle. 6 men from the little skipper and 4 from 9 lives somehow made it home alive, saved by the impossible skill and unbreakable courage of Rojan and Leak. Rojan would never boast about it. When asked about the distinguished flying cross he received, he'd only shake his head and say, "If I'm alive today, it's because of my co-pilot. Bill Leak's the reason I made it home." That day, 2 pilots did the impossible, not for glory, not for medals, but for the men who trusted them with their lives. Glenn Rojan and William Leak showed the world what courage looks like when death is certain, and yet they flew anyway. If stories like this move you, stories of bravery, brotherhood, and the unbreakable spirit of those who served, then make sure you follow this channel. Hit like to honor the heroes who never made it home, and the few who did.